Welcome to Seen and Solved. I'm Tim Pennington. In this episode, we're talking about a rock star for pretreatment chemistry, Phos Clean. It's a one-step cleaner coater that's showing up in more tanks for a reason. Joining me is Erik Sarlund, Hubbard-Hall's pretreatment pro, to talk about what makes this product line stand out and where it's solving problems on the shop floor. So let's get into it.
You're listening to the Seen and Solved podcast, brought to you by Hubbard-Hall. Better results, less chemistry.
Appreciate you joining us today. I want to ask you about Phos Clean. It's a product line at Hubbard-Hall there, and what makes it different from other cleaner coaters that you think that are on the market?
Well, I think the Phos Clean is not, it's not just a single product, it's a line of products. So what makes it different is the variety and the number of products that we have to tackle a number of different needs for the processors, because not every process is the same. Some guys are processing, or people are processing more mixed metals. Some are processing just ferrous metals. Some have larger parts. Some are recycling. So we have a variety of products within that product line that can meet a processor's needs. And, not just in terms of the product itself, but some of the characteristics in terms of how it's applied and how the requirements the customer has for their finished products. So, yeah, I think variety is probably what sets us apart.
I don't know much about cleaner coaters, and to be honest with you, I didn't know that they were combined into one step. Is that normal, or is that something that's kind of unique with this product?
Well, it is normal. I wouldn't say it's unique with Hubbard-Hall. There are, other companies out there that do that, but we have a pretty unique chemistry in terms of the detergency with our products. So we're able to tackle some tenacious soils that maybe only an alkaline cleaner would be able to get off. But we're able to do that with our products. So we're cleaning, coating in one step. It saves process time, saves money, saves on waste, and improves quality.
I know you said you had many different items in this market line of Phos Clean, but where are you seeing this product line really used the most and most effectively then?
Quite honestly, there are no limitations with this type of product. In terms of marketplace, we've seen it in the automotive industry, metal fabrication industry, even the medical industry. We've done race cars with it and heavy equipment. So there really are no limitations. I think where this type of product shines in industry is where someone's maybe limited in terms of footprint, where they don't have the capabilities to set up a big line within their plant, or they have a mix of products where it's not feasible to set up a 3 or 5 stage system. So this technology has come a long way to help those processors get the kind of quality that you would normally get in a 3 or 5 stage system.
You mentioned earlier mixed metal operations, and how does it handle that? Talk a little bit about that a little bit, especially steel and aluminum. How does it work well with that?
Well, quite honestly, steel's easy. These products, they all do a great job on steel. What really sets them apart, though, is their functionality with mixed metals. So we've got some categories within this product line that are designed for processors that are doing more aluminum, say, than steel, or more zinc galvanized than steel. So they're accelerated a little bit higher to attack and go after the aluminum and really provide the adhesion that the customer is going to need. So I think that's where it really stands out. We've seen so much growth with the mixed metals in manufacturing that it would be difficult to ignore the benefits of these products on, say, aluminum.
Sort of the litmus test is the salt spray performance. What is it that you can get out of this? What do end users can expect to get out of it?
You can't really give an expectation because it all depends on what the customer is looking for, and we can tailor that process to get the desired results. So typically on steel, a process like this, if you're going to do the bare minimum and you've got low quality, maybe a hot rolled steel, you're going to expect to get 250 hours up to 1,000 hours on steel. Aluminum, we're going to get much higher results than that, 1,000 up to even, in some cases, up to 3,000 hours for architectural standards with additional processing. There is some additional processing that, to target those higher levels. But for the most part, you're going to get 250 to 1,000 hours is pretty realistic.
So you all do have the low foam option, correct, in this product line? So
we do, yes.
Yeah. And so why does that, where would that be used? Why would that matter for certain systems for end users then?
Well, typically in this this clean and coat marketplace, it's always been a spray to waste type environment where they're using the product, it hits the metal, it hits the floor, it hits the drain, and that's money down the drain. So we've partnered with some equipment companies that have been able to put together a recycling system. We're able to recapture that material and reuse it, and so it's continuously feeding. So the low foam is going to help with refeeding throughout these recycling systems. And there's also some benefits to, low foam, high foam, cloud points, and the temperature at which they're processing to get the highest quality on the metal itself.
You mentioned earlier shops with or facilities with smaller footprints, right? It kind of combines several different steps. They're not having to use as many tanks and such. But are customers using this to replace some of the multi-step processes? Are you seeing that at all?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's an ideal candidate to do that. If somebody's got a 3 or 5 stage system that they're running, perhaps they get a new job, a big job that isn't going to fit on that line. They built it maybe 15 years ago, and now they've got something that's much larger. This could be a process that's in addition to that. Maybe they've got a contract to do big wood chippers, and they can't hang that on a line in their current footprint. So set up a location within the plant, very small footprint, where they can take on those new jobs. In terms of the quality, you're not going to suffer quality between a 3-5 stage or even this single stage process. That's the whole goal behind it, to be able to continue processing much easier, much quicker, much faster, much more flexible, much more economical, without sacrificing quality.
Yeah, very, very important for that. You mentioned you have a kind of a wide range of products in this Phos Clean line. What would be the criteria that customers would want to look for when they're to choose the right one for their process?
I think they'd probably want to look for one that has a Hubbard-Hall on the label for starters.
Right.
Each process is different, so I think it's important to have a smart and knowledgeable rep along with you to be able to go through your process, find out what your goals are, find out what your limitations are, find out what your expectations are, and then we can put you into one of the products in our product line that's going to help achieve all of those. I think that's the most important thing, is taking the time to talk with somebody that knows exactly what they can do for you and what you're looking for, so expectations are met or achieved.
You probably have been asked that dozens and dozens of times. You can kind of cut right to it and let them know based on what they're doing, getting them into the right product for their operations, I'm sure.
There's a lot of times where we get customers in this particular product space, a lot of word of mouth. They talk to one another and they say, "Hey, I'm using Hubbard-Hall HS222, you should use that." And the guy's like, okay, he calls us up and he says, "Hey, I want to use the HS222 because Sam down the street's using it. He loves it. He's been using it for 10 years and he says it's the best product on the market." Well, it probably is for Sam, but the new guy is processing aluminum. So we might want to go with our HS333, which is a little more balanced towards aluminum. So that's the benefit of having someone there to talk to, an expert, someone from Hubbard-Hall.
To quickly get you the answer, that's the most important thing. How quickly can you get an answer to the right product, which is always very helpful with that. If I'm going to ask you as we close up, I'd like to get, tell us about a recent case where, Phos Clean, solved a real specific problem that you had for a customer, that it really worked well. And that, can you give us some details of that without naming the customer, or just kind of give us what it was they were facing and how you all were able to solve it?
There's a lot to choose from. I mean, we've done race cars and boats, and I'll tell you about, we've got a marine application. We'll call it a marine application. I won't name the customer, but they're making very high visibility products for enjoyment on the lake. They ran into a situation where they wanted to powder coat the aluminum rails, but they wanted to be able to bend those rails after they've been powder coated. They tried a number of different pretreatments. They tried shot blasting. They tried working with different powder coating suppliers. And we were able to tailor and come up with a process within our product category to meet those expectations. So they're now able to pre-paint all of their rails and then custom bend them after the fact and still get 2,000 hour salt spray without the paint popping off as they bend it. So that was a big win for us. High visibility, really good customer, and quite a challenge as well.
Contacting either you or someone else at Hubbard-Hall, but especially you, you can really help somebody who's looking, kind of direct them in the right product based on, I know, the experience that you've had over the years with that. But I want to thank you, Erik, for joining us, and hopefully we'll be talking to you real soon about another product.
It was good seeing you again. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Seen and Solved by Hubbard-Hall. For more episodes, visit hubbardhall.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe, rate and review, and join us on social media. Produced by Awcast.